Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to 5 things that all Janna mains need to know. Janna isn't the most dominant nor the most mechanically intensive support, so the main thing you want to get better at is the consistency of the simple things. Situationally, however, some more advanced tactics or knowledge can be used, and that's what we're going to try and talk about today. Not everything will be advanced per se, but it is what appears to be lesser known knowledge. Let's get started. First thing we're going to mention is using the Q defensively. I see far too many Janna players when they're trying to run away, they throw their Q towards an enemy and release it immediately, trying to run away, and this works most of the time but not always. It does knock them up for a second and open up the distance between you and the enemy, but it isn't as effective as what I'm about to show you. This is a charged up Janna Q, and it's far more effective than one that is released right away. So what you want to do is use the charged up Q in the path that you're running towards. What this does is it causes the enemy to try and sidestep it in the first place because they think the Q is coming right at them, and this means they lose some distance already. When they get back to chasing you, they think they dodged a tornado and you can release it to catch them off guard and get you a much more effective knockup than one that's released right away. So what it looks like, again I'll show you one more time, is this. Charge up the Q, they try and sidestep it, they get back on path, and you knock them up with it. Since the enemy will be moving in game, it'll look differently, but it'll work the exact same way. Second thing we're going to be talking about is the R flash. Most people know about the flash R that looks like this, or rather the winsec, but they don't know that you can actually alt and then flash to give the enemy almost no time at all to react. What that looks like is this. This will make sure that the enemy doesn't flash at the same time when seeing you flash, causing you to push them even further away from your allied team. However, this is actually quite difficult to pull off sometimes, so you definitely want to practice it in practice tool first. When attempting this, you have to press R just a fraction of a second before you flash, almost at the exact same time. If you do it too slowly, your ult will come out from where you flashed and make you look like an idiot. So to spend 2 minutes in practice tool practicing this mechanic before pulling it off in your games. The third thing we're talking about is the QQR Combo. You might find yourself a lot of the time in situations as the Janna main where you want to ult to save your teammate, but your ult will save the enemy as well because of the knockback. This method will make it so you can get your ultimate off to heal your ally and at the same time not knock away the enemy. This is pretty situational and difficult to pull off, and what you want to do is use your Q to knock up the enemy when your ult tries to knock them away so that it cancels the knockback. What it looks like is this. So you make sure to practice this in practice tool before pulling it off in your games, as the timing can be quite difficult. But difficult it may be, using this will make sure your enemy's even more dead from the knockup and you're able to get your allies healed up, make sure they don't die. Fourth tip of mentioning is to use your ultimate to reposition enemies into your Q path. A lot of Janna players know about this one but don't ever use it for some reason, even though it can be used to make some pretty devastating plays. It looks like this. Make sure to learn the ranges of your abilities before trying this out in game. So you charge up your Q, you flash, you ult them into your Q, and that's all it is. This obviously can be used with the R flash combo I told you earlier on to make some pretty sick plays that the enemy can't react to and will never expect from a Janna. The fifth point I'm going to make isn't necessarily an advanced mechanic or anything. It is, however, what I believe to be the single most important thing on Janna, and that is learn your matchups. Every different matchup requires you to play Janna in a different way. For example, trading with Nami, Sona, and Lulu can be very difficult, but trading with Alistar, Rakan, Braum, and Leona can be very easy. At the same time, however, it is a lot easier to die to one of those hard engaged supports. So for things like using your Q to trade in lane, you'd have to use it differently in both situations. Here's an example. You want to use your Q before going for a trade on an enchanter support so you can get a free poke off and just leave right after hitting them with a W and an auto once that Q hits them. You don't trade with them otherwise because they outtrade you in almost every situation as long as their abilities are up as well. If you do this against an engaged support, however, they'll be able to do anything they want to you and to zone you and your AD carry out because they know your Q is down. You always want to trade with your Q up against those matchups because they're scared to engage, and if they do engage, you can Q them and they'll eat more poke since you Q their engage. My whole point is that Janna isn't the most dominant support right now, but if you learn her matchups and play accordingly, you can still win lane. Quick point I want to mention is that I'm not only talking about lane matchups, but matchups in general. There are way too many abilities in the game that you can stop with your abilities for me to mention, so I'm not going to. But if you are serious about playing this champion, you need to learn those matchups. That's all I've got for you guys in this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the support so far on this channel. Best of luck on the Rift.